This would be a good time to figure that out.
I don't know if you have any quotes that you're sharing.
Oh, we're going to find out.
All right.
Well,
All right.
good
Let's just.
morning. Good morning, everyone. Rabbi Brian, I'm glad that you're here. There's the time. I'm a few moments before 8 o'clock. Good for me. And there it is, the little. We are missing our usual tech person, Alex. But I'm glad that you're here, and I'm glad you're in a forgiving mood because something is going to go wrong in the next hour. I'm joined. I promise. I promise everything is not going to go the way that you think it should in the next hour. Probably in the next.
It already has. I just joined you.
Well, welcome, Greg. Glad that you're here. I'm joined by people all over the globe. So wave hello, and then we'll get off of this screen. Oh, hi, Ruth. I just saw you there. Hi, Lee. Hi, Derek. Hi, Cindy. Hi, Joe. Glad to see you guys all here. And there we are. We are beginning. I want to start. We're taught this is religion outside the box, right? And it says so right there, religion outside the box. And I'm delighted by this idea of thinking outside the box. And people sometimes send me little cartoons like of a guy laying in a casket, and it said he always was so outside the box. It's a shame we had to bury him like this. The phrase outside the box. So this is religion outside the box. Why is it called that? Well, my beloved Jane had a brother, Barry, and he was dry and droll, and when they were driving and anytime he saw a church, he would just say, "Oh, look, another God box." And religion outside the box is this idea that holiness, spirituality, spiritual religious goodness, these things can exist outside of that box. And I want to give you a little puzzle. If you have a piece of paper, please make 9 dots, make a 3x3 grid of 9 dots. And you might make more than one set of them because this is an interesting problem to try. So if you would, for a moment, make a few sets of 9 dots, 3x3 grid. And I'm going to ask you first, I'm going to use a different color pen just so that you can see the contrast. I'm going to ask you to, using only straight lines, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I can do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I can connect all those dots in 6 lines. I'm curious if you can connect the dots in 5 lines or fewer. So take a moment to try. See if you can connect the dots in 5 lines or fewer. And we haven't done any one of these spiritual religious exercises for a while. And the point of it is that it should be, I want you to try something that's not going to go well. And we're doing this somewhat like a scientific experiment where we're taking all the controls out and we're introducing you where you are right now to do an exercise to notice how do you respond to the frustration of not being able to connect those dots in 5 lines. Is anyone able to connect those in 5 lines? You got it, Patricia? Anyone else got it? Paula, you got it too?
About 4.
Hold on, I want to make sure we can do 5 lines before we can do 4 lines. Patricia, can you hold your answer up? You're on mute right now. Yeah, and that's going to be the hint. The hint is going to be that it's outside the box. Go ahead, Patricia.
Okay. I don't have it, but it's basically go up all the way up 3.
Up 3.
Over 3.
Over 3.
Down 3.
So that's 3 lines.
Over 1.
4 lines. Oh, there you go. You got it in 5 lines. Perfect. Now, make another set. Can you do it in 4 lines? John, you already know how to do that?
No, I was looking at something different.
Okay. So I'd love you to try to do this. I'd love you to try to connect the dots in 4 lines now. So our goal is to do it in 4 lines. And there is a way of doing it. And the hint, which helps for nothing, is that you have to think outside the box. But it's really hard to do. It's really hard to think outside the box. And I want you to try this again. I want you to try it just to see, in this scientific way, what happens when you get frustrated by a task that you think you should be able to do. And I promise you, it is completely possible to connect them in 4 lines. I want you to notice within your own self what happens in this controlled environment where you can't get the thing you want. Because the better we're able to, and this is part of the philosophy behind religion outside the box, is the better we're able to observe ourselves and notice our own reaction to things, the better we're going to be able to have reactions that we want. Anyone get the 4 lines? Betsy, you got it. Good job, Betsy. Hold on one sec. Go ahead, Betsy. Yeah. Let me show. I'm going to show it to everybody up on this one. You're absolutely right. So here's how this game goes. In order to do this puzzle in 4 lines, you got it, Betsy. Extra credit and extra points. In order to do it in 4 lines, I'm going to do it here with this one in red. The secret to it is you add in an additional dot at the top of the first column and an additional dot at the end of the last row. And you think, well, how does that help? And watch how this game goes. I'm not cheating. I'm going outside the box. These are imaginary, these dots. So if I go like this, watch, Ruth. That's 1 line, 2 lines, 3 lines, 4 lines.
Oh, I didn't know you could.
Y'all see that? That's pretty cool. I'll do it again on this one so you can see it again. We're gonna add an invisible dot there just so that we can know where we're going to. And the game here is to think outside the box. And when I was shown this puzzle, I couldn't figure it out either, because you're so stuck with the 9 dots. You think of that box and that box alone. And to think outside the box is first we go all the way up past the box. Then we go down on the 45-degree angle. 2, 3, 4. It's outside the box. How many of you had known that puzzle before we did it here?
Yeah.
A few of you. All right. Thinking outside the box.
I knew it was outside the box, but I didn't remember how to do it. But I said,
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyone get frustrated that they weren't able to do this? Or no, the stake, who cares? It's just a number puzzle. It's not that upsetting. I'm going to make
I did it before seeing the solution. Yes, it was very frustrating.
before getting the solution.
Yeah.
I'm going to offer to all of us that however it is that we do this, however we react to this, should give us some insight in how we react to other things in the world and how frustrated we get. And we can learn to change. Okay, I'm going to transition us. Oops. Hold on. There we are. Last night was Friday night. I told you a week ago Annie's friends stayed over for Friday night dinner, but I didn't tell you about a thing that we do at Friday night dinner table. And I want to share with you, often on Friday nights, I'll tell whosoever I'm eating dinner with 3 things I like about them. And I go around the table most Friday nights and I tell everyone around the table 3 things I like about them. And I do this because I think it's important that we remember that who we are in relation to other people is so important. Last night we did one a little bit different. I do these spiritual exercises religiously, and by the word religiously I mean very forgivingly, and I'm not very uptight about it. So last night's idea, and Judaism, Harold, we were talking about this before we started the recording, is this idea of a Sabbath, of taking a break from the norm. And on Friday nights, that's when traditional Jewish Sabbath begins. And it has to be exactly 18 minutes after the sunset, and some people play that way, and they go the 24 hours until they can see 3 stars in the sky, and they're very exacting about it. I'm a much looser, outside the box thinker, and I thought of this, and I asked everyone last night, and I'm going to ask you the same question. If a Sabbath is to take time off from work, taking time off from our habitual work mindset. If you could have 2 hours, and I'm going to give you from now until 2 hours from now, you can have 2 hours of time off. What would you want time off from? And my answer last night was, I would like 2 hours of time off from the negative internalized voice that I have. And I ask you, what would you like 2 hours off from? You could have a Sabbath, and you have from now until 1 hour and 58 minutes from now. What would you have time off from? And I'd love to have 2 answers from people. I got 2 people who can give me some answers of what would you want 2 hours off from? My 2 hours off would be, I'd want 2 hours off from the negative internalized voice that I have, the one that's telling me I'm doing things wrong. Lee, what would you want to have 2 hours off from? What would your Sabbath of 2 hours be?
Fighting to understand meaning in other people.
Yeah. Say it one more time. I'll see if I can't get your video up on the screen too.
Please don't.
Okay. All right. Hold on. I'm gonna.
I hate when you do that, man.
Lee, let me just thank you, and then we'll get back to the Sabbath thing. Thank you for telling me what you like. It sure makes shit a lot easier for me to be able to give you what you like when I know what it is. So thank you.
You know me enough by now. I ain't gonna hesitate.
I appreciate that. So tell us what is it?
What I need 2 hours break from is trying to understand the intention in other people.
Okay.
Ooh, coffee.
Yeah.
All right, 2 hours off from having to work so hard to understand what other people are talking and feeling.
Got it.
Okay, Lee, I got great news. It's granted to you. 2 hours, starting now. Amy, Avon, and then we're going to go into small groups to continue this discussion. Amy, what would you like 2 hours off from?
2 hours from the pain I've been feeling for the past 2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 hours off from the pain. Do you want to tell anyone a little bit about what this pain's from? You don't have to.
No, sure. In January, my brother went missing for about 2 days. He was found in a hospital. They found out he had a brain tumor that had metastasized to his left side of his left frontal lobe. He died, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, Rabbi?
I think so.
So it's been a whirlwind. I was up there the weekend that he died. He wasn't cognizant, so it's really hard for me to know whether he knew I was there or not. I'm going back up to New York on the 23rd.
This weekend.
Which would have been his 69th birthday for a celebration of life.
Well,
So
we'd like to give you 2 hours off from the pain.
So I get to say Yisker for a year now.
Yeah. I hope you get 2 hours and more off of the pain, but loss of a sibling is a hard thing. Avon, how about you? 2 hours off from what would you get what would you take 2 hours off from?
My answer is also pain, but of the physical nature. If I could have 2 hours where my body didn't hurt, that would be awesome.
That would be awesome. Now, I can't promise anyone that your wish will become granted, but I do believe that we have a better chance in getting things, just like Lee just showed us. We have a much better chance of getting things if we verbalize what it is that we want. So that being said, we're going to put you... Oh, Maria, are you able to put people into breakout rooms?
Yep. I'm doing it in groups of 4.
Okay, you're going to be in a group with 3 other people. These are special. If these are not the exact right people you wanted to be with, it's all Maria's fault.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
So we're going to open up rooms for 4 minutes. Talk about what is it that you would want to, and what you would want to have time off from. And I'll ask, the tallest person in each room is going to be the person who goes first. And then the tallest person in each room is also going to be the person who is de facto elected to give feedback after the breakout groups are done, but you can vote somebody else in. But let's see how well this works. Maria, let's open those rooms, and we're going to give everyone 4 minutes starting now. And of course, the 4 minutes is exactly the right amount of time. We've calculated that out.
Breakout room, join. Okay.
Let's see how that goes. And then some people are still here with me. They're Al and Ruth. And some people, it gets a little too hard to have the video moving around. Hi, Roberta. Hi, Joe. Hi, Ruth. You guys have any entries? Maria, I see you posted that I stole your answer.
Yeah.
What was that the answer to?
That was what I wanted, 2 hours off.
Oh,
Take a break.
what would you like 2 hours off from?
Yeah, my thoughts.
The negative internalized voice. Not all the
Yeah,
thoughts, just
yeah.
the negative one.
Well, basically all of them.
Wait, does that mean that all of the voices are the negative internalized voice?
Pretty much.
It's kind of a large overlap between the internalized voice and the negative internalized voice. They seem to.
Yeah.
Oh man! All right.
See, I was just telling my sister this morning. I asked her. I said, "Do you ever look back on something that you now realize was something stupid that you said to someone, and sort of wonder, like, I don't stew on it, but I think of it sometimes, right? And then sort of stew on it a bit and wonder if that person still remembers me saying it."
And the answer to that was?
Well, she doesn't really.
No. But you have a very good memory of all the stupid things you've said.
Oh, not all of them.
a goodly amount. A good enough amount.
Goodly, I'm sure that there's plenty of stupid things I said.
Oh, Maria. And Roberta and Joe and Ruth, anything that you would like 2 hours off from?
I would like 2 hours off from listening.
From listening? Well, do tell us who from listening.
I give my brain a vacation from having to process constantly.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's tiring. That's tiring. Joe, what do you got?
I'll take a 2-hour break from thinking about cancer, please.
2 hours off from thinking about cancer, and that we should hope that could happen.
And there's an answer on Facebook if you want to post it when people get back on.
Sure. I'm not sure. I can.
Shirley has a 2-hour break from physical pain and fatigue.
Oh, I see it there.
Okay.
There, I got it. Okay. Roberta, you have something you want to share?
Yeah, just 2 hours off from the news of the world, because everything you hear is just so bad. You just quit listening, and then I'm afraid I'm going to miss something important. But
yeah,
it's a constant bad news.
Yeah.
It's exhausting, isn't it? Just exhausting. That was.
Rabbi,
Yeah.
I have another thought.
Do it.
I would like to take 2 hours off from Trump. 24 hours, 365 days a year.
Yeah. That goes with the bad news. The bad news. Wow. All right. Well, everyone is going to be. I think they're coming back, Maria. I have 4 minutes. Is
Yeah, no, I gotta find where it says breakout rooms. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Are they coming back?
All right, time's up. Time's up. I'm closing all the rooms, which does technically give them 1 more minute.
Right.
so-
Right. Okay. I think.
Well done, Maria.
I think the whole thing about this time off is that it can't be given to us. That somehow we have to take it. We have to make it. Go ahead, April. Oh, you unmuted for a second.
Oh, whoops. Sorry.
It's all right. Anything you want to add, friend?
Sorry, I'm just muttering around here and doing my own thing. What was the question? What I would like to take a break from?
What would you want to have 2 hours off from?
Well, everything you guys said, basically. I'm like everybody else. My thoughts, not so much listening, the news. Yeah. I would also like to take a break from being concerned about my health issues as well.
Yeah.
Like, everything to do well. That would be nice. Yeah. I don't think about it chronically, but I'm always aware that my joints are off and my collagen is not perfect.
Oh, how you doing, Chicky?
Well, welcome back, everyone.
We're back.
We're back.
We're back.
And I will say that one of the things that came out in my group, and then I'd love to hear from some other groups. One of the things that came out in our group was that the time off can't. It's not just given to us. It's something that we have to actively take.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That nobody's handing this out. We have to at least go. It's that old joke of, please God let me win the lottery. Please God let me win the lottery. Please God let me win the lottery. And the voice comes down that says, meet me halfway, buy a ticket. That this time off isn't just going to happen. That we have to buy a ticket. We have to try to make it happen, or it doesn't happen. What was some of the wisdom that came out in your groups? Is there something that you had an aha? Go ahead, Lenny.
Oh, well, what came out in our group is that how similar we all are. That we're all working through the same thing. Judging was the first thing that was brought up.
Yeah.
And it's judging our other people around, but judging ourselves. And all 3 of us connected with judging.
Yeah.
And 2 of us had very important men in our lives who just were on a different frequency than we did, who were faster and did things faster. And our brains are just different. No brain is right, no brain is wrong, but they're just different. And we should not judge ourselves by somebody else's frequency. We're just working on a different frequency. Neither one is wrong, neither one is right, and we should judge ourselves for being different from them. We are just different.
Yeah.
And we all loved it. There was a connection.
Good.
And the theme of our group was, let's not judge.
Yeah. The opposite of not judging is just self-kindness.
Yes.
And again, it's not something that you're going to be given. It's something that you have to make a practice of taking. Thank you, Lynn, for sharing that.
Oh, and one more, in the middle of my spiel, in the middle of me talking, I thought there was a voice in my head that just said, write it down. Like if I have trouble organizing my day, write it down. What can you move this? Like a math problem, move it around so the most things get done in the day, which is something I don't naturally do. So there was a helpful
Thank you, Lynn.
solution. it just by talking.
Thank you, Lynn. Thank you. And someone else, what came out of your group? What kind of wisdom was there about
Could I share something, Brian?
Yes, you.
Avon and I shared a lovely conversation, and one thing that struck me is the metaphor of the second arrow, the first arrow and the second arrow. The first arrow being whatever painful experience we encounter. The first arrow hits us, and we are struck by that. That causes pain. But the second arrow is the optional pain, and we fall prey to the second arrow in our painful response to the first arrow. And we talked about how we need to work on, even thinking about what Lynn said about judgment, the way we judge ourselves and beat ourselves up. That's the second arrow. I encounter a painful experience. That's the first arrow. Can't do anything about that. The second arrow is optional. Do I judge myself by my response, or do I learn to somehow accept whatever pain the first arrow caused? Because I could resist that pain, and that becomes a second arrow, a deeper kind of pain, which is really optional. But that's what this is all about. It's becoming aware of this practice and developing a different kind of practice to help us make that optional.
Yeah. Larry once said to me, thank you, Hugh. Larry once said to me, when something bad happens, you don't have to kick your own patootie for the thing that went bad. That's ass kicking is optional. It's the same thing you're saying, Hugh. It's that second arrow. The bad thing befalls us, beating ourselves up for having that thing go wrong. That one's optional. And at any point we can stop that cycle. Thank you, Hugh. Anyone else on what you would like 2 hours off from? Yes, Tom. Hi, buddy.
Oh, has had his hand up for a little bit.
Okay, hold on. We'll get to Steve. Tom is beating himself up right now for not being able to unmute his own phone. You got it, Tom.
Yeah, we got it.
I did. All right.
Were you time out? Were you beating yourself up for not being able to find the unmute button?
Let's just say that while I was muted, you didn't hear all my cursing and muttering to myself because I couldn't unmute myself.
Go ahead, buddy. What do you have?
All right, thank you. So we had some delightful, I'd say, variety in our group in terms of our responses. Someone shared about just wanting to take a break from or not have 2 hours of impatience with others.
Oh, wow. Wow. What a great idea.
Mentioned about, it drives them crazy when other people don't answer the phone or call her back. So she just wants a break from being impatient. Another one was kind of like beating yourself up, but just 2 hours without unreasonable expectations of ourselves or of myself.
Can we get an amen on that one? Hold on, everyone. 2 hours off of having unreasonable expectations of myself.
That's right.
I think anyone want to opt out of that one being true for you, or can we just say that that's true for just about everyone here? 2 hours off from unreasonable expectations of ourselves and others. Amen. Did you have another one there, Tom? I just had to jump in on that one.
Yeah, just real quickly. One member of our group, kind of delightfully, said they couldn't come up with anything, and that they just concluded that they're quite happy and at peace right now.
Let's do that for 2 hours. Do that for 2 hours. That's just great.
That's right.
Thank you, Tom. Right. Thank you so much, Steve, and then Candace.
Yeah, I had started off kind of a little glibly about 2 hours off from seeking approval of my daughter who doesn't approve of anything. But as we began sharing among ourselves, 3 of us are in various places of seriously caring for another member of the family.
Mm.
And we're looking for 2 hours perhaps to care for ourselves. and one of us was a little more infirm and living home alone, who would just like maybe a 2-hour break from being by themselves.
Yeah. Yeah, beautiful. And Stephen, let me also just help. Thank you for not naming names and keeping it so that everyone's confidentiality for. I appreciate the way you put all that. 2 hours of not taking care of others as much as taking care of ourselves. What a but I'm sorry, we're down to an hour and a half now, so you don't have to commit for much longer than just an hour and a half. Go ahead, Candace, and then Ellis.
So we started off talking about work, just taking 2 hours off from the mental work about work, and ultimately our group landed on 2 hours or an hour and a half or 15 minutes, just a reprieve from the chain of actions related to making choices. The second guessing, the thinking, and if I do this, this will happen. So that was where our group landed. Though when I was listening to others, I remember several years ago, probably a decade ago, we did a conversation like this around our own dinner table, and it was, if you could stop people from complaining about anything, what would it be? And the weather and the news. And my 4-year-old daughter said each other, and I thought that was pretty profound.
Amen. Amen. Ellis, thank you, Candace.
Oh, we had some that just wanted 2 hours off from fatigue. Some that wanted time away from work, not have to think about work or what might happen. And then there was this idea of outside the box. What if we took 2 hours to think about what we love?
I love that. Take 2 hours off from thinking whatever we're normally thinking of and think about love for 2 hours. Hour and a half now. Hour and a half. Connie or Harold or both?
Okay, our group kind of came in from 3 different directions. One direction was 2 hours off from just what's going on in life and second guessing decisions, and decisions stack up to have to make. And one direction came in, I'm just sick and tired of the world, the violence and the politics and the stuff that's going on. Then one came in with the Rabbi's blessing. I'm thankful to have many problems and not just one. So I really don't need any time off. I just need the blessing of having a lot of little problems.
Amen. That was from last week, a call back to one rabbi said to another, give me a blessing. The second said, may you have many problems. And then explained it that when you have many problems, it's that you're out of staples and you overcooked the chicken. It's many problems. But when you have one problem, is there's so many people in the group right now I know who are acutely have one problem. And that's a terrible thing to have one problem. Thank you for that, Harold. I want to move us along to a different thought. I'm just looking to see if anyone had something burning that they wanted to add in. We're good. Hi, Maria. Where's my friend Maria? Hi, Maria.
I'm here.
Oh, hi, Maria. There you are. So last week, and I told you I was going to... I asked if it was all right, but last week we talked about this idea of if somebody's telling a story and they're 70, 75, 80% right and accurate about the story, but they add in a fact like it was a Tuesday night when we went to this restaurant, and you know for well it was a Wednesday, it wasn't a Tuesday, that it's inconsequential to the story, but can you let it go? Can you let go of it having to be 100% accurate, and can you let it slide that somebody else is 70% to 80% accurate? And you had I would love for you to share, Maria, your response to this assignment of trying to let things go over the past week.
Well, I've been sort of at both ends. I've caught myself doing it. I'm practicing mostly on my mom, and I've caught myself doing it, and immediately went, "Whoa, that wasn't necessary," and I've apologized to her.
Oh, how'd that go?
Well, sometimes she said that she agreed with me. And so I've said, "Yeah, Mom, but in the big scheme of things, it didn't matter." So, and sometimes I've caught myself in my head, and so I haven't said it out loud, even though I really wanted to.
I gotcha.
And then other times it's been like it's just sort of flicked through my head that it was different, but it was like, yeah, that's fine.
Fair enough. And did you find any freedom in this exercise?
Yeah, especially when it was kind of like, you know what, that just doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So it helped me to focus on what was more important.
Hey, gang, I'm going to ask the whole group. I'm having a little bit of technical difficulties at the moment. There we are. The whole group. How many of you could use a little extra dose of it just doesn't matter? That seems to be, and let's just by comparison see how many of you have hands. Seems to be almost the same number of people. That's amazing. That's. Anyone else want to weigh in on the 70% not correcting and letting things slide? Meg, I'm not looking at you right now.
I'll go on the other side of it.
Go ahead, John.
I have found one advantage to having a spouse that has some dementia, and that is it teaches me to not be critical all the time. There is no point in me pointing out that you asked me that 3 seconds ago, or you've got that fact wrong. So it's really, I was happy to find an advantage to living with somebody with dementia.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping it'll carry over to even you, Rabbi.
Oh, I thank you for forgiving me my trespasses, Meg. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very, very biblical of you. Hey, gang. Here's a thing we've never... Yeah, John!
Two things. I found it useful around the house. I've always been a correcting person. I think that just comes with the teacher in me. At the same time, had a recent posting, public posting by a supervising agency for the area in which we live.
Okay.
They're doing some bridge work, a major bridge in town. And originally they were going to just tear it down and build a new one, but now they've decided, okay, we're going to cut the loads back and work one side and the other. And they put out words that this public information thing, the posting, was that they're going to restrict the traffic. And it will depend on the size of the trucks. And I had to ask them where I can go to see the figure skating trucks, because they talked about the number of AXELS that the trucks have.
Axles.
So determine whether they can go over the bridge or not.
I see. And you had to let go the fact that they used the wrong spelling of a hominid.
Not to let go.
You chose not to let go. And how did...
I started off by saying, where the hell do I go to see these ice figure skating trucks?
And how did this work out for you?
They said that they would change it pretty much immediately.
Okay.
Like that was what...
Not sure that bolsters my point very well, but I'm willing to go along with it.
The other way.
Other side.
The other side of it. Okay. Ellis.
My point was...
Oh, go ahead.
The first time you use it, it's a typo. But when you use it the second time in the next sentence, it's just plain incompetence. Nobody proofreads this stuff.
Okay. You should see all the mistakes they didn't publish. Right? I'm assuming that they caught a lot of mistakes in the first draft and they corrected all those, but those ones aren't glaring. Go ahead, Ellis.
Well, I'm not perfect at it yet, but what I found the true advantage of not correcting someone is personal peace about it.
Say a little more.
Just not go there, and it's freeing.
Yeah, that's what I was going for. That's exactly is if we let it go, we don't have to hold on to it. Emily, you're moving your head around a lot. Do you have something you want to add?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've just found that to be absolutely true. It's just too much bother to hold on to stuff.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, so let it go might be, and that might also fit in with what we had been talking about having a little bit of a Sabbath from, is let's take 2 hours off from correcting everything. Let's just take 2 hours off. Yeah, go ahead, Al.
Yeah, there's kind of a meta realization that just went through my head. I was having an occasion last night where I was sitting down with some folks and was having real trouble letting go of what I was hearing. And it occurred to me that my judgment of them is being judgmental. And it was their judgmentalness that was bothering me. And
oh, interesting. So there you are being judgmental of them being judgmental.
Exactly.
That's kind of recursive.
And the biggest thing that I got out of that was I took a step back and I realized you got to take it easy on yourself, Al. You're not going to be perfect all the time. You're not going to be the stone Buddha that just lets everything pass through. Sometimes you're going to get attached.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Yeah. Amen. Thank you. Sarah, hi. Go for it. You're on mute.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, I wasn't here last week, but what came to mind was thinking about not stopping and correcting people. I live with my niece and nephew who are 10 and 8, and sometimes, like they're kids, they do get details wrong, or, embellished. But I've kind of learned that if I stop to call out details, I won't get to the big truth they were trying to communicate.
Yep. Absolutely.
Amen.
Thank you for that. I'm gonna get to Rita and Avon in a second. I want to add in. I learned this when my kids were younger too, and there's this idea. It's from Dr. Godshock. It's called a 4-to-1 ratio, and they talk about that in any healthy relationship, you want to have 4 positive to neutral moments for every correction. So that meant saying. And trying to come up with 4 positives for every negative was impossible. So it's 4 neutral to positives for every negative. So neutrals, and they felt really stupid at first when I did them, where I would just say something neutral to Emmett like, oh, look, you're playing your video game. That's a neutral. Because if he hears only the corrections, he's not going to ever want to listen to me. So if I can give him 4 neutral to positive moments for every one correction, how much easier it is for him to hear me, because he's not just hearing me correct him. Thank you, Sarah, for bringing that back to our attention. If you're looking for extra homework assignment, try this one. Just for an hour and 15 minutes, that's all you have to do. Rita, go ahead.
Well, John's response made me think of it's, for me, a sense of humor is what gets me through a lot, and to respond to that misspelling with the idea of dancing trucks, ice skating trucks, that made it funny, and it wasn't as aggravating to whoever wrote it wrong.
Right. It's a non-shaming way of doing things, is to keep it with some humor.
A sense of humor helps one not get so upset about things.
Amen. I love it. Thank you, Rita. Avon. Thank you, Rita.
I also wasn't here last week, but the whole conversation is making me think about my sister, who, amongst her personal idiosyncrasies, is that she really, really needs everything to be correct, down to the complete minutia. And so growing up, I was constantly corrected. She's the older sibling as well, so she also knew more stuff. And so just my entire childhood, constant correcting, to the point where my parents had to like implement rules about how many times she was allowed to correct me in a row. Some of them worked, but the result though is that I hated it. I hated how often I was corrected, and it was interesting because people are, the assumption in this conversation is that you are the corrector. But I was thinking about being the corrected, the one who spends all day hearing, no, it was Tuesday, not Wednesday. No, that's my coat, not yours. And just how stupid I felt.
Yeah,
how dumb I thought I was as a kid.
Yeah.
Right. And it frankly also made me do the same thing. Is that I also became a super correcty person because I was waiting for her to mess up so I could get mine.
Yeah.
But also because I thought that was how you're supposed to talk to people.
It sounds like you've realized something beyond that.
Yeah, it wasn't until my teens where I'm like, this is dumb. I don't care.
Yeah.
Who cares what day it was? I don't.
Right. Yeah, letting it go. That's what Emily, you were saying, is there's a freedom to it. It's just a freedom to let it go. Let it go. Hugh.
Thanks, Brian. I'm not going to do a lesson on the Enneagram, but for those of you who don't know about the Enneagram, it's a metaphor to help people understand the way different personalities work. And one of the things, I know people who love to correct me unnecessarily because it has nothing to do with the message I'm trying to communicate.
Wait, Hugh, the way you just said that, I need to correct you on something.
I'm going to let that go, Brian. But one thing that helps move me to a place of compassion is understanding that someone who corrects others is actually afraid of being flawed themselves.
Say that again.
So
Say that again.
What they need to do is they feel a compulsion to correct other people because they fear the ways that they are imperfect and flawed themselves.
So to have... Wait a moment. It sounds like you're advocating having compassion for others.
Well, sometimes, well, no, I always have to work hard at compassion for other people. But also, folks who do the correcting need to have some compassion on themselves.
Yeah.
And also think about, what's my motivation here for correcting another person? And really, my motivation is I am afraid of being incorrect myself. So I'm going to correct you.
Thank you, Hugh. I'm reminded, and then we're going to do something different. This 4-to-1 also works internally. Try to get yourself to notice 4 or give yourself compliments about 4 things for every one time you have to correct yourself. Wouldn't that be lovely? Okay. Hey, gang, look at this. This is so cool. This is going to be the first time I put a QR code on the screen. There's a QR code. But what does that lead to? Oh, interesting. That QR code, if you know how to use it, will bring you to the ROTB contact list. If you would like, and it's going in the chat right now. Hold on. If you would like, I'm putting it like 7 times in a row in the chat. But that's just so that you can see it. If you would like to be able to be in touch with people, if you want to share, if you're willing to share your own email address and phone number, there are other people whose email address and phone numbers you can have. I think I'm skewing to the older crowd because I don't see many people taking QR code pictures. If you take your phone right now, if you take your phone and you put it on camera mode, if you've never done a QR code, this is how it works. Put your phone on camera mode and you just point it right at that QR code. If you point your camera at a QR code, some magic will happen within your camera and your camera will say, oh, would you like me to open up that link? and you just say, yes, I would, and you have successfully just done your very own QR code read.
Rabbi, remember that's only for iPhones. Not everybody has an iPhone.
This will not work on an Android?
If you have an Android, you have to use Google Lens.
You have to use Google Lens.
Oh, I
It should
apologize.
be defaulted to your Google search system if you have an Android.
Shame. You were trying to
Works
shame
on my
Paul
Android.
getting Apple products.
Okay. I have to shame people some to keep up with my contractual obligations to be a clergy person. So it's part of the rules. There has to be at least, I forgot what it is, 10% shame every other week. All right. So if you want to join, you're welcome to do that. And I will update the list as necessary. Do not use the list to market to people, just to reach out and, I don't know, maybe text Joe a whole bunch of emoji hearts, and if Cousin Amy puts herself on the list. Anyone who you know was having a hard time, if anyone said that they were having a hard time in this service and you have the ability to reach out to them, do. Thank you. Let's take a minute, dear friends. Let's take a minute of time and have a moment of gratitude. What are you grateful for in this minute? Shout it out. Or just keep
I'm grateful for my friends.
grateful for friends. Amen.
Grateful for this service.
Grateful to join us in this service today. Amen.
Sunshine.
Sunshine. Nice and simple.
Music.
Music. Amen.
I'm grateful for my mind.
Your mind. Amen.
I'm grateful for having been married to Wayne for 54 years.
Amen.
Getting over COVID.
Amen.
Yeah, not having COVID right now.
Amen. Grateful for relative peace.
The group.
For the group as a whole. Amen.
Grateful for
Life.
Life itself. Amen.
Yes, life itself.
And we're going to reset our clock in a moment, but to add in some prayers for people who could use some love and light. Maria, thank you again for filling in for Alex and for doing all this yeoman's work. I don't think that's a gender-neutral word, yeoman's work. Yo person's work? I don't know how that goes. Thank you for the yo work. That doesn't sound right. Go ahead, Maria.
It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Let's correct.
These are the people to whom we are sending light and love. Ken and Joe, Anne, Sheridan H., Amy and family, Peggy and Al, Aunt Ellen in spirit and family, Sari, Ryan and families, Susan Welby, Al Pranis, Donna Dubain, and Rosie in spirit, Ken, Alexei Navalny and family, Michael Watkins, Jason Padilla, and Ida Byrne. And if there is another person in our community to whom we can offer light and love, please put their name in the chat and I will add them to the list in the clubhouse. And for the people who aren't named but who are in our thoughts, we send them light and love as well.
Well, let's take a minute of time now.
Way.
All right. I want to bring in an idea, and it's an old quote, and I've shared this before, and it's one of my favorites, but we're going to take it in a deeper way than we have in the past. It's a quote attributed to Irving Becker, and the quote says, "If you dislike someone, the way they hold their spoon will offend you. But if you like them, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind." If you dislike someone, the way they hold their spoon will offend you. Oh my God, they got a haircut. It looks so stupid. Oh my God, look at their new bag. Oh my God, who would ever use a bag like that? If you dislike someone, everything they do is going to annoy you. But if you like them, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind. Due to circumstances, my mother dropped a favorite pint glass of one of my neighbors. My neighbor loves me enough that extended to loving my mother enough that he was okay with his Snoop Dogg glass having been broken. If you like someone, they could drop a plate of food in your lap and you wouldn't mind. So I this week was talking with Larry about this, and this might wind up being a little bit of homework for us to think about over the next week. Of if the thing that someone does annoys you, is it because you have decided that that person is annoying? Case in point, I was talking with a very dear friend, and they said, "Can you believe my mother? I'm having a really hard time, and she sent me a text message that said, 'Good morning!' exclamation point. I can hardly..." I was like, oh my God, like, she wrote good morning. How offensive. I want us to to try to see. Emmett takes my water bottle all the fucking time. These water bottles are supposed to be filled up with water and put in the fridge so we can make soda water out of them. Are they ever in the fridge filled up with water? Only when I find them and I fill them up with water. He is incapable of doing so. But I love that little bugger, so it doesn't horribly offend me. It doesn't horribly annoy me. And I want us to see, can we tweak the system? Can you game the system wherein if you decide you like more people, you will then be less offended? So if you can find reasons to like people, you're going to have fewer people holding their pen incorrectly, fewer people writing the wrong spelling of the word axle. You're going to have fewer people annoying you because you've decided that you like them. Larry put it this way when I was talking with him. He said he was talking to a therapist about how annoying a characteristic of his beloved. They're married 62 years, so you know that the thing works out. But early on in their relationship, Larry was really frustrated with an activity that his beloved Virginia was doing. And the therapist said this: once you decide to see how charming that annoying thing is, you'll be surprised how much less it will bother you. Once you decide to see how charming that annoying thing is, once I decide to see my water bottle disappearing as charming, I'll be surprised at how much less it will bother me. Once you decide to see how charming that annoying thing is, you'll be surprised. And the important word here is decide. That we have to make a decision. We have to decide to not be annoyed. We have to decide to be charmed. That's not an easy decision to make. I'm going to leave that for us to do for homework. I have an announcement to make, and it's slightly different than usual. The announcement this week says, it's okay to admit we don't feel okay. It's okay to admit that we don't be okay. It's okay to admit that we don't feel okay. Not only is it okay to not be okay, but it's okay to tell people that. It's okay to not be okay, and it's okay to tell people we're not okay. Folks, turn to each other, make a little smiley, and wave. And we're going to turn off the recording. Thank you to all the beautiful people on Facebook who are watching along, and thank you, Joe, for including them in our service today. And we will see you again.